So, our last historic deck of the day is a kind of novel version of Soul Sibling. So, mono white, Soul Warden, Daxos, aggro has been a deck that's up on my website on the historic page. I think is pretty reasonable overall. This build is electing to play 4 Lotus Field and 8 white-red duels to play Ember Cleave, as well as kind of a cheeky Kenrith here. So Kenrith gives trample as well when you have giant Pridemates. And with Lotus Field, you could technically activate all 5 abilities on Kenny here. So interested to see how this feels. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a little bit too clunky compared to what else we have going on. Something that I also wouldn't be... I'm not sure that this split is correct. In fact, I think I'm going to switch this. I'm going to go up to the full four Heliods. I feel like having a payoff is pretty important in this archetype. And like with 4, 3, and 2, we only have 9 payoffs for life gain. And I guess this is kind of a payoff. I think I want a little bit more. So this is an interesting take on a more stock list. Let's see how it feels after some games here, huh? What's going on, Bill Nye? I would recommend doing your chores. My coworker also gets upset when I refuse to do my chores. You're going to be spending a lot of time with your significant others. Be kind to each other out there, folks. I have an intern that refuses to do anything on their own. Oh, children. Looks like Kisa's combo here. Going on, just be as aggressive as possible. I'm interested to see how the divorce rate fluctuates with quarantine. Yeah, I think I saw a headline that divorce rates went up in China. I think they'll bring filter lands. Which lands do you think are filter lands? The ones that make 2 of a color? I'd be surprised if so, because I think the filter lands tend to be incredibly awkward on average. So this is our 4th devotion to white, which means when I play this Heliod out, he'll be a creature, which will trigger Daxos, which is great. And now Heliod will pump up the Daxos here. Yeah, filter lands would probably be a nightmare for the auto tapper. They let you cast your boomerangs off a Simian Spirit Guide. You're not wrong. 7 months here and all I got is this lousy quarantine. Thanks, Zero Gamer. Your wife was one of the people that wasn't provided a laptop and has to go into work. That's rough. I think, ooh, well that's, yep, that's a big in. I really like the Cycle Lands too. We're going to get more Cycle Lands here soon too, right? With Amaget. Alright, so this gains us a life. which then I think I'm just targeting this and then smacking them, right? I want to make this an 8/8 so they can't double block it. If I don't put a counter here, they could double block this, which isn't ideal. I really hope they don't put fetches into this format. I think decks having lower power level through the avenue of having worse mana is ideal. It's actually one of the things I really like about it. I like no fetches. I think Fabled Passage is like, Fabled Passage to me feels like the perfect power level Evolving Wilds. I feel like they really hit a sweet spot with that design in terms of appropriate drawback while also being playable. Fast lands would be a good addition to this format. For those not familiar, fast lands are Botanical Sanctum, Dark Slick Shores, Black Cleave Cliffs, lands that come into play untapped. No, I think Fabled Passage is a much better design than Prismatic Vista. That's super unfortunate. So long, 9/9. Why not attack with more and give one of them lifelink? Because they have a 6/6, and this can't give itself lifelink. Is Evolving Wilds too good? No, Evolving Wilds is worse than Fabled Passage. So Evolving Wilds isn't playable. Fabled Passage is playable in some situations.
Hey, that was uncalled for. Let's try this.
Brutal CB's at 25%. Sick. I bet we could start killing that thing every day now, Beansy. I would love double big chests. I'll have 2 more keys I can dump in after work. So let's make this big enough to attack through Laziv here. Well, they're probably just gonna block. I think we just start working to pump the Pridemate back up to attacking range. Very, very nice Daxos here. Why are fetch lands more powerful than fast lands? So the fetch lands can fetch dual lands. So fetch lands are 5-color lands because they fetch Overgrown Tomb and Steam Vents and Sacred Boundary and things like that. They fetch shock lands. I mean, neglecting hard completely seems better than just doing, I mean, doubling brutal seems better than having brutal and finishing hard. The items you get from the hard boss are basically useless. They're only 4 stars. 5 decent 5-star items are like mid to end game. Yes, basic is a strong keyword. Fabled Passage only gets basics. Well, that's phenomenal. Who's got 2 thumbs and is excited? Oh, actually, I was going to say, I'm kind of excited to get Urza's Ruinous Blasted here, but if they have that, it's actually not that big of a deal, right? Hey, Austin, you should DM me on Discord, and I will boot one of our lower players out of Hooglandia for you. The reason why we're close to beating Brutal is we consolidated a bunch of the people into Hooglandia that could all 2-key Brutal. Thanks for the sub, Gifties Trumpet. You really didn't need to do that. I appreciate the support. I could have stacked a bunch of counters on here, but I kind of feel like it's likely that I should have played the land so I could double lifelink. I think it's likely I'm getting Urza's Ruinous Blasted this turn, though. I think Pain lands would be a fine addition to the format. I think those are not those are appropriate power level. I think they'd probably be annoying with the auto tapper though, so like maybe that's a reason to leave them out. Sick, called it. And we have enough devotion from just these two dorks that like Heliod's still attacking here, which is great. So Heliod cannot give himself lifelink, so not punished for not playing the land, which is nice. Start powering up Linden here. Yeah, putting a counter on Linden plays around Oath. Good call. Cleave would be gas on this board. Would have won this game. If it weren't for their meddling Fibble Thips and their blocking.
This might be a bad idea.
So, Dodgy, there's 5 Hoaglandia-related clans, and the way Raid works is you're better off if you're in a clan that's killing the same boss you can kill every day. So if I bump you out of the main one for someone else that can do the brutal boss, where some of us at the top end are, you should join up on one of the smaller clans that's like killing the easy or normal clan boss, because you'll get better prizes if you're actually killing a boss that your group's killing every day. Let's see if they can combo kill us here or not. They just copied this. Yeah, the real Hoaglandia clan is the Discord. We don't actually really use the clan chat, we just talk in Discord. If you want to join the group that's killing the Brutal Boss 2, Drunk, let me know. I can make some space. I think we have like 5 or 6 people that aren't quite at the Brutal Boss level. Thanks for checking them out, Olds, man. Their game was sweet. Alright, so... what's it called? Kinrith, keep this combo. The real clan was the friends we made along the way. Yep. So Devout Decree is good here because it exiles Kisis. Cleave sounds good for cutting through their blockers. That's really about all I have. I don't think Banishing Light is good enough here because I don't think Banishing Light is good enough here because they have 3 mana Teferi, which just bounces it. I think this is probably... there is a command for my board game recommendations. I think this is probably a little bit too slow. Let's try this. All right, Lotus Field, let's do it. Yeah, Doji, if you're not in the subs Discord, I'll post it in chat for you. Or I can't copy and paste from there. If you look in the subs Discord in the raid channel, there's a list of them. I believe Shillsville and Butt Jeff have slots in them. So there isn't a direct link, Ostin. You just open the Connections tab in your Discord, and under the Connections tab, you'll see a Join Server button. Perfect. My one recommendation to people joining Discord for the first time is just like take 2 minutes and look at all the channel names and mute the ones you don't want. because there's a lot in there. So some you'll be interested in, and some you won't. Well, okay. Well, as far as good draws go, that was towards the top. Let's start powering up our Soul Warden here so she can eventually attack through. Okay. I'm gonna push a ton of damage this turn. I think I want to stack Linden up to 6 here so they can't kill her in combat with a double block. I think I'm just gonna put the other one on here. If they want to double block Soul Warden, that's fine. How did Hydras go this morning? It was less bad than some of our other recent standard decks, but still wasn't great. Oh, you're on mobile. You actually can't join the Discord server on mobile. You need to have the desktop application hosted in. So Discord doesn't have the sync feature, join feature on mobile. You can technically launch the desktop version of Discord in your mobile browser. And once you join the server, it'll work on mobile, but you just can't join initially through the connection that way. That's annoying. All right, we could die here if their hand's good. Yeah, you're fine. You're far from the first person. So scale of 1 to dead, where are we at? People haven't seen the opponent's archetype. It's one we've played on stream a bunch. The basic idea, that's a good start for us. Yeah, their graveyard's not very stocked. We're pretty likely to win from here. Why is deck plating Lotus Field? To offer double red fixing to cast Embercleave, and also offer rainbow colors of mana to activate all of Kenrith's abilities is the basic idea surrounding the Lotus Fields in our deck. Yeah, walking around outside, especially like in nature where you're not like, so long as you're not like constantly touching surfaces and you're keeping a distance between you and other people, like going for a hike in the trail or going for a walk around your neighborhood, that's not a big deal. Just, don't be within coughing distance of people or like touching things with your hands and stuff that other people are touching constantly. Okay, this is a lot of Soul Wardens. With Linden next turn, we might be able to get these Serra Ascendants online pretty quickly. Would you consider walking an 9-hole golf course with one other person? Not okay. I don't. If it's someone that like you're living at home with, it's probably fine because you're not contacting other people, or if you're staying away from each other. I don't know. The important thing to remember too is like the things I'm talking about here on the stream and things I'm thinking about and things that I'm doing, I'm not a medical expert. You should go listen to what actual experts are saying, and my word is not gospel. I'm a random dude on Twitch. My educational background is in mathematics. As always, encourage you to defer. Earthquake in Utah yesterday was because the tectonic plates were social distancing. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should play this here instead of this, because then I could have attacked with 2 6/6s next turn, right? In fact, I think I've gained enough life at this point that I'm going to offer a trade here. To hit Dannon for that pun. Thanks to the Biddies twin. Yeah, I definitely should have played this instead of the Leonin Vanguard there, so I can attack with 2 6/6s this turn. Oh, I have no doubt that there are a plethora of lawyers lawyers and doctors and astronauts in chat. Definitely not a lot of sweaty IT people. Definitely not. You're a doctor who practices intergalactic law. Excellent. Excellent. You love to see them. Just the bigliest, best intergalactic law practitioners here in my Twitch chat. Is it crazy to click submit here? I don't really feel like I have anything for blue-green ramp, and I also feel like our matchup here is probably not terrible. Like, we just want to beat them down, right? Maybe you could make the argument that we want less Life's Bounty because they're not that likely to have interaction, or maybe Kenrith's not nearly as good. Would I rather have more life gain payoffs than Kenrith? This, Ajani is probably more aggressive than Kenrith, right? So I think I'm gonna make that swap. And then they did have Brazen Borrower at least, so I'm gonna leave these in. I'll let you know that my apartment is kept at a brisk 68 degrees, so I'm not sweaty. My basement is nice and cool. I am not sweating at all here either. So we call these life gain decks siblings decks because in older formats, this archetype was called Soul Sisters as a play on Soul Warden, and there's another one that basically the same text as Soul Warden that I'm blanking on the name of right now, and those were the sisters in the deck. And now Daxos, along with Soul Warden, those are the siblings. Essence, whatever it is. Soul's Attendant? There's another card that basically does this. Soul's Attendant. Okay, that's the one. Essence is the green one. Yeah, that's the time-shifted one, right? Or the Planar Chaos one, or whatever we call them. Essence, we're in the green-shifted one. Yep. Oh, Planar Chaos. You're such a silly set. Rude. So I assume Warden's dying here. I think Time Spiral was a sweet set. I think Planar Chaos was a bit of a miss for me in a lot of ways. All right, well, if we can draw a land here, Johnny's going to be real good. When did I start playing Magic? I started playing Magic very casually around Apocalypse Odyssey. And then I started playing Magic competitively with the release of New Phyrexia. For a long time, the only Magic I played was drafts in my buddy's basement from college. Couldn't afford constructed decks. Should have kept the Sacred Foundry. Yes, because if I draw another Clifftop Retreat, it'll be tapped. Good catch. Thank you for pointing that out. Charging Monstrosaur. No, I don't want to put a Charging Monstrosaur in my constructed deck. Thanks. So, Ajani 0 is only 15 more. So I get to enter combat and then Ajani 0 post-combat. And just like, bye friends, this board. I still don't have a payoff here is the issue. So like Ajani was kind of my payoff. So like that was good for us, but we're actually not really ahead here at the moment. So like their Field of the Dead is still tick tick ticking here, and like I don't have a win con in sight at the moment. If we find another Ajani or a Pridemate here, we could be okay. Anybody else ever cast a one-sided Plague Wind before and then just lose the game immediately anyways? Declaration in Stone. That would actually, I'm actually kind of surprised they did not have Deck in Stone in this historic anthology. That would have been just, I feel like that removal spell is a super appropriate power level for this format, and it would have been another card that could hedge Field of the Dead in a color, right? That would be a good card to add to the format, I think. I think that card's super reasonable. Love the power level of it and the things that let you play around and play through. Well, you know. Alright, let's draw some lands, huh? Oh, they'd have to put clues in too. That's fair. That's fair. That's a really good observation. There aren't clues gotta be easy to program though, right? Yes, and the land before Theros, Deck in Stone was super playable in Pioneer. All right, we get to cleave someone for the first time on a Leonin Vanguard. Rats. Rats. All right, let me rephrase, Whammy. If clues are difficult to program into Magic Arena, the code base should probably be spiked into the garbage can at this point. Let's rephrase. If clues would be a difficult task programmatically at this point, just give up, we're done. Really good, clean example here of why I said I don't think we really need sideboard cards for this matchup. Like, just run it down. I guess they could theoretically have fog here, right? Pivo! Don't know about you, but I'm feeling 52. I don't know if the cleave part of this deck is good. This has been a good reminder that Soul Siblings is good, though. Soul Siblings in general has been good. It's a good deck. Deck of the day. What's the deck of the day, Ben? What did we play? Standard was only okay. I feel like my deck of the day is probably Merfolk. I was pretty impressed with that one. Humans was okay. This one's been good. I feel like Merfolk was a cut above the rest today. Yeah, the reason why Yarok Field can keep up with this deck that we're currently playing is because it's very interactive when it needs to be. Sure, Space Martin. I believe that. We played a Planeswalker or variation of this in Standard that felt okay. That seems like a reasonable observation. Ajani serves a similar role to Embercleave in that it clears out the board. So, anti-sweeper cards for a deck like this are things like Gideon that just survive the sweeper. Cards like, what's the bad 3-mana card people always play? Unbreakable Formation. I think that card's a trap when it comes to anti-sweepers, because decks like this realistically can't hold up mana for Unbreakable Formation on turns 3, 4, 5 when you would need to be countering a sweeper. I think you're much better off playing cards like Heliod and 4-mana Ajani and 3-mana Gideon that are threats that last through sweepers rather than trying to be reactive to their sweepers. And what you need to understand is, like, at the end of the day, this is a linear aggro deck. Sometimes your opponent's just going to have their sweeper, there's nothing you can do, and you're just going to lose. This is like how Magic works. All right, well, take 8, 9, 10, 11 here. Hoping for some devotion so we can put Heliod into play here in a second. Perfect. So I'm going to attack with... Am I attacking with Pridemates here? If I attack with Pridemates, I lose Heliod. I think I pumped the brakes. Okay. Maybe I should have made a 4/4 for blocking duty instead of making a 2/2. So the way this works is we're going to take 5 trample damage, but their thing's going to die. Thanks for the 20 months, Toxic. Before anybody says it, I didn't give Heliod lifelink because that's not a legal play. Gosh, it is worth noting how awful Lotus Field is here compared to a real land. I probably shouldn't even have played it. If this had just been an untapped land, I could lifelink 3 things inside of combat here. And in fact, now I can only lifelink 1. When I should have probably just not played the Lotus Field, and then I could lifelink 2. You think there's a good chance we die here? Nice, Texas Horror. Oh, this thing pumps itself up. That's terrifying. Gosh, I guess they can... Yeah, this just doesn't work out for me. They actually just kill all of my Pridemates here. Right? Yeah, I guess we were probably dead either way. I could draw Linden next turn, or a 2 devotion thing and maybe be okay. No, it would need to be Linden. Even then, we're not going to be okay. Yeah. I don't know if the Lotus Field really cost us there. I think we're going to be in trouble regardless, even if I could lifelink another. Yeah, Texas, that would be great. If you search for the clan and hit join, I can go through the application after I'm off stream. So I set the clan to private so that it wouldn't fill up right away. That's sweet. With that many people, you should be able to down it every day. And probably do hard as well. Just everybody get double hard, double brutal. Until we eventually move up. What am I doing here? So... Is Decree good enough? I'm not sure that Decree is actually good enough, huh? Like, they had some red cards, but I feel like it's probably not. Heliod's Intervention gains us life and kills Embercleave, so, like, in a pinch, this is still useful. I feel like Cleave is not what we want to be doing here. I'd rather have Ajani to clean the board out. Yeah. Yeah, this really kind of feels like I'm just supposed to be the mono-white deck here. Heading to 99, Andy. Sure. Again, Lotus Field looking super awkward here. Gonna deny us the ability to play a 3-drop on turn 3. So the idea behind the Lotus Fields are that it's a single land that provides double red mana for the Embercleaves, and it provides mana of any color for Kenrith. I think playing the Blue Splash is fine. Especially, so again, if you didn't see the variation of this deck we played in Standard with the Blue Splash, if you're playing a bunch of Planeswalkers, you can play Interplanar Beacon. And Interplanar Beacon gains you life. It was really sweet in Standard. Alright, Heliod's a good draw. It's gonna let us pump up the jam a good deal next turn. With us being on the play here and hitting that third untapped land, we should be pretty well set up. We're going to get it for 9 here. But we're going to need to stack a bunch of counters from Heliod on the lifelinker in a second. So, that's nice. So not quite turning this into a 6/6 base yet, but they're taking quite a bit of damage, and we're gaining a bunch of life up here. I'm going to power up Linden so she doesn't die to a deal 3 here. We're powering up Serra Ascendant in the hard way, right? Not in the way that she's meant to be, but the way that she needs to be. Alright, that was the easy game. Now, with Champion on top of their Lord, I think I'm going to board in Decree here on the draw. I'm going to trim a couple of these Life's Bounty. Seems reasonable. It's brought back, been discussed. Why is it useful to ramp in this deck? Like, if ramping was useful, I could see that being a reasonable discussion, but, like, we don't really gain value from jumping up to 5. Well, I mean, like, our 5-card hand is really good here, so I'm going to keep it. I don't think I've heard anyone reasonable say that Heliod should be banned. I think Heliod's a really sweet card, and I agree with you that building around him is awesome. I think if they ban anything, Walking Ballista needs to go. Ranger of what's it called could technically be a life gain card. I think it's a pretty reasonable card. Again, Lotus Fields here just being super awkward. Really hoping to draw another land so I can go 2-drop into 1-drop, 2-drop. So again, the problem with Brought Back is very similar to the problem that I described with something like Unbreakable Formation, in that holding up 2 mana to be reactive tends to not be good in my experience. Yeah, I think we've only been playing this for like 45 minutes, but I think I'm going to go ahead and swap to just playing traditional Soul Siblings, because the Lotus Fields just seem more cute than good. I feel like the point of the Kenrith or Embercleave to something very similar to 4-mana Ajani really hits the nail on the head. I think looking at it from the perspective of, okay, this is a thing. This is a thing that, like, what we're doing, we already have a thing that does that. I think it's pretty accurate. Embercleave. This is playing this to enable Embercleave for the most part, and Embercleave seems largely unnecessary with what we're doing. All right, they're out of cards here, and we've got a giant Pridemate, so... Yeah, it looked like it was worth considering on paper. Like I said, I accepted the deck for a reason, wanted to see how it played out, but I feel like the small amount of upsides we're gaining are pretty minimal compared to the downsides. Arena decks are a $10 submission for subscribers. Those standard, or historic. G-Goat, thanks for the 28 months. I am being a little bit more selective about standard stuff. I don't know that I'm really going to be accepting brews in standard until the new set drops. Carefully keeping the Sacred Foundry there so he's coming to play untapped. I did miss a couple. Bloodbath and G-Goat popped up. Mr. Missouri. What did you get me? Thanks for keeping me around. And Bloodbath, thanks for the 20 months. I mean, I imagine the paper release is going to be impacted and pre-release stuff. The digital release should all go about the same, I imagine. If I finish it, Wargy, I'm probably going to play it off stream. Like, it's extra work for me to be streaming rather than just playing a game, because, like, when I'm streaming, I'm on, if that makes sense. It's hard to wind down when I'm also doing content. Yes, yep, opponent's playing Red White Knights. We should splash black for Bolas the Citadel. I believe someone said WotC is allowing people to just buy pre-release kits directly, instead of requiring... Normally, LGSs can't sell those. They might move the release up to later April. You mean move it back? When is it scheduled to be? I thought it was scheduled for the end of April. Is that not true? Oh wow, they turned on Serra Ascendant. That's so good for me. Yeah, back. I think anyone expecting to be able to move anything back a month is probably going to be sad about what the reality is with what we're dealing with at the moment. Yeah, it's not going to be done by April, is likely the reality we're facing. Is that lethal? It's probably not lethal, but they can take a big chunk out of us here. We have 4 copies of Ajani that would have been great at any point here. The events world is canceling June events. We'll be lucky if we can open schools in the fall. I think that's a realistic. That understanding is my understanding of the situation. We will be lucky if they can open schools back up again in the fall. So this is 20, 30, 38. I'd go to 2 here with these blocks. Oh yeah, I should totes kill Marshall because he powers up the tokens. Good call. I'm in danger. Yeah, all right. We're dead, right? This gains me 4. Go to 6. Block these, die. Yeah, I think we had some opportunities to draw spells in there, and they just didn't come. Another thing to consider too is, and this is really big in spots like we were just in there, is that in order to fit Lotus Field into this deck, what did we give up? We gave up Castle, right? Because we didn't want to afford more tapped lands. Which, having a Castle in a matchup like that is a really big deal on a board state like what we were in. Hey, sweet Argon, if you're 2-keying Brutal or better, drop me a DM, and I'm gonna send out invites or go through the application list after I'm done being live today. Yeah, because of Daxos and these, like, this would have been really, really good. That build also wasn't playing Legion's Landing, which was good. I think I'm happy with this build. Do I want to try some Rangers in here? I don't think you need Settle the Wreckage. I think you have a bunch of Ajanis that clear the board, and that's fine. This build's playing 21 lands. What if I cut the Hawks? I feel like I want to get up to 23 lands with a couple of Rangers here. What do we think of this? Is Legion's Landing too bad with only 16 1-drops? That's probably still fine, huh? Yeah. Let's try this. How's the Pioneer deck today? Awful. I put red black Pyromancer back in the queue, and it's like quickly reminded why I hate playing mid-range in that format. Just got dumpstered in a couple of different ways and tapped out. I'm not even gonna bother putting it on YouTube. If you want to watch it, you can watch it on Twitch at the start of the stream. It's just like a match and a half, and I was like, I'm done. What does this deck do versus Field of the Dead? You zero your Ajani and then kill them with a giant attacker. Is mid-range good in any format right now? Legacy, maybe? Maybe Legacy? I'm doing well, Delta. Happy Thursday. Hope you're staying safe out there in this crazy world. Maybe this is wrong because we could get like Chain Whirler next turn or Deafening Clarion perhaps. Clarion's gonna be brutal here. Hopefully it's just like a stomp. Sweet. Yeah, from my understanding, the markets have lost every gain that they made under Trump. Is there enough aggro or field to justify Shadow Spear? I don't think there is. And again, like for people that want to play cards like Embercleave like we just did or Shadow Spear, the thing you need to understand about this archetype is the style of deck that needs an enabler, something that gains life, and a payoff, something that profits from having gained life. And things like Shadow Spear and Embercleave are neither of those things. And when you're doing something that's neither of those things, you're more likely for your deck to just not work. And as far as like breaking board stalls goes, Ajani, Strength of the Pride, is a card that clears the board out on its own. Sure, it gives lifelink, but our creatures already have lifelink most of the time, right? Like, which of our creatures, like, exactly Pridemate? And if Pridemate's not already big, it's not really relevant? That's a little brutal. They're playing, like, red-white adventures? I wonder if they're missing a color. I wonder if they're missing a color. Untapped land. Gross. So this forces a chump block at least, huh? So this will gain a life. Oh, it doesn't gain a life. Never mind. JK. LOL. That's true. Memorial seems odd if they're playing a 3-color deck. Maybe they are just 2 colors. Remember when I added 2 lands to my deck? Remember when we started this set by going, let's add 2 more lands? I did hit save because there's Ranger of Eos. And I added lands because I added Ranger. Okay. Stream's pretty great. You're pretty great, Requiem. Thanks for the 8 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm going to throw away my Serra Ascendant here to be able to play 4 mana spells. Vexology, thanks for the 10 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Just gonna let these trade off, and then I'll play Ranger of Eos. Yep. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm gonna go get a Warden and an Ascendant. Just one of each. It's good clean living. Yeah, Ranger seems like a solid upgrade to this archetype, for sure. How much have you played Vintage Cube? I look for a $100 donation for limited on Moto. And as always, a reminder that that price is high to discourage you from doing it. I don't mind Cube too much, but the primary focus here is Constructed. Is it crazy to just click Submit? I don't really know what their deck is doing, and when you're playing a kind of aggressive deck like we are, if you're not 100% sure what your opponent is doing, less is more, click Submit is generally good logic. Yeah. I mean, sometimes... Oh, did I not update the stream decker? Sorry. There we go. In... What matchup does Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, come in? Ajani and the Gideons in the sideboard are resilient threats that are good at surviving through sweepers out of control decks. So when your opponent is clearing your board a bunch, bringing in threats that are resilient to that tends to be ideal. You'll love to see it. Ranger's really sweet because it's kind of an enabler and a payoff, right? Like, it can find Soul Warden to be an enabler, but then it can also grab Serra Ascendant to be a payoff. It's a really, really sweet addition here. Is it better than either Gideon? I mean, well, I'm also playing Gideon. So I guess I'm not sure what your question is. We're playing Ajani and Gideon. What control deck is good in Historic? I think Blue-White Control is fine in Historic. You can find a Blue-White Control variation up on my website. I also think there's a Jeskai Planeswalker variation that we played a couple of times that's fine. Alright, well, here's a 6/6. Go ahead. Yeah, there's a lot of not honesty from governments right now, Pickle. Top Toe, thanks for the biddies. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, if we could play Gideon in the trials, I'd snap play that card. He is not legal. That's an Amonkhet card, right? That's a card we could see out of Amonkhet. Well, Mana Traders and Card Sphere are different services. I was previously sponsored by Card Sphere. I'd still recommend their service. They're a service for exchanging paper cards with other people, though. Mana Traders, I believe, is a Moto rental service. I've never had any affiliation with them. Giant Killer. Yep. I mean, that one's pretty good against us. That's a good one. Well, that was rude. Now they get to attack me for one? So this is a good reminder that damage doesn't kill creatures, state-based actions do. So if you attack with this and you're at 29 and it's going to put you up to 30, it doesn't die unless it has 6 or more damage marked on it. For people that aren't familiar with that interaction. Because basically how that works is creatures don't die from damage. The way they die is they die when state-based actions are checked and the game says, oh, this creature has lethal damage marked on it. So lifelink just happens. It doesn't use the stack. So you go up to 30 and then the game state checks actions and says, okay, this is now a 6/6 because they're at 30 with 2 damage marked on it. That's an important distinction to know. How are we doing today, folks? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody wherever in the world. Thanks for dropping in here today. Hope everyone out there is being safe right now in these crazy times. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I stream Magic and other card games full-time here on Twitch. I'm here playing a ton of Historic lately. We also do some Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Standard on occasion. Lots of great stuff. As always, I love to give a shout out to my wonderful subs. I wouldn't be here day in and day out without their support, so thanks to all of them for keeping me employed. I'd also like to plug a couple of my wonderful sponsors here really quick. BCW Supplies, only ones I trust to protect my paper Magic the Gathering cards, using code HOGLANDIA at bcwsupplies.com. You can save 10% on sleeves, binders, deck box, and all sorts of other fantastic gaming accessories there with them. Grimoire deck boxes does fantastic novel deck boxes. They do larger ones like this for 300 cards. They have ones that hold up to 800 cards for an entire cube. And they have individual boxes as well. And you can save 5% on your purchase of them by using code JeffMTG. The Nerd Rage Gaming Championship Series, I should probably reach out to them. I assume they're going to be on hiatus for a little while here and see what's going on with them. Normally they do paper Magic tournaments, but the world's a little crazy right now, champ. InkedGaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. If you head on over to InkedGaming.com/Jeff, it's an easy way to support my content while getting access to custom playmats, mouse pads, binders, and bags, and all sorts of other fantastic gaming accessories there with them. Artwork of your choosing. I've learned state-based effects the same way as every other modern pair, bolting a 2/3 Tarmogoyf. So, fun story about players learn things at all levels, and there's players that make mistakes regardless of what your record is. So, this will be a story that some people won't get because they don't play Modern, but those that do should appreciate it. So I was 7-0 in a Modern tournament, and I had a 2/3 Tarmogoyf in play, and there were no instants in the graveyard, and my opponent goes, lightning bolts your Tarmogoyf. So we then explained to my opponent, and had a judge explain to my opponent that the way state-based actions work, my Goyf was gonna live, and they said, okay, Snapcaster Mage, target Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt's your same Tarmogoyf when I had a second Tarmogoyf in play as well. And I verbally confirmed with my opponent twice that they were in fact bolting the same Tarmogoyf they had already bolted while they were taking the only instant out of the graveyard. And they confirmed that that was the case, and I put my single Tarmogoyf in my graveyard and started my turn. It's like one of those like, well, you know. I've been booted, chat. We've been thoroughly booted. They're sailing away. Gosh, having cable internet must be awful right now. I can't even fathom having cable internet at the moment, because like everybody's home hammering their cable internet. Never been so thankful to be on fiber. For people not familiar with technology, if your cable infrastructure is not great, heavy usage in your area can degrade service for everyone there. If there's lots of people hammering on it, whereas fiber has dedicated lines to each house. I think my favorite modern gotcha story, someone just brought up Splinter Twin. I watched a player who was playing a Splinter Twin deck they had just been handed. We're super dead here. And their opponent put Splinter Twin on their Deceiver Exarch, and they were like, okay, next game. And my buddy who was sitting there playing goes, what are you doing with the Deceiver Exarch? And their opponent looked at them, they're like, well, no, my friend told me you concede when I put Splinter Twin on the Deceiver Exarch, so we're going to go to the next game. And he goes, well, no, mechanically, what are you doing with your Splinter Twin and your Deceiver Exarch? And the opponent, who had, like, just been handed the Splinter Twin deck, like, picked them both up, read them, and they were like, pass. And it was just like... just like one of those best, just Modern's a silly format, chat. The big non-rotating formats are the best. Non-rotating formats are the best. Baffling End sounds wonderful. Opponent's playing an aggro deck. This probably gets attacked down a lot of the time. Let's trim a couple. Literacy is a big problem among Magic players. There's also the number of ad nauseum related fumbles I've seen over the years are really high. For those not familiar that haven't played modern or older formats, Deceiver Exarch, when you put Splinter Twin on it, makes an unlimited number of 1/4 with haste Deceiver Exarchs because it is a 2-card infinite combo. And mechanically, what you do to accomplish that is the Splinter Twin puts an activated ability on your card, and then when the card comes into play, it untaps something. So you make a copy, untap the thing making copies, repeat till you have lethal amount of copies. Literacy is tantamount to cheating. That's a strong position to take. Literacy is tantamount to cheating. Let's get linear. We want to get linear. Let's get into linear. Do 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 do. So cutting a couple of Lindens here where I'm on the draw, because when I'm on the draw, I'm less likely to be able to be in a position where I can attack. I'm going to board in a couple of Conclave Tribunals. They want to be a little bit more interactive / reactive when I'm on the draw, because I have less of a chance to be aggressive like that and just run them down when they're going first. So very common strategy in aggressive decks across all formats of Magic. You'll be more aggressive on the play, and you'll want to be more interactive when you're going second. Yeah, I think I'm going to bottom Linden here. You ever seen someone boarding Grafdigger's Cage against Living End? How about Bring to Light, Beetle? Explaining to people that Bring to Light doesn't get impacted by Grafdigger's Cage is also a trip. Tower Knight, thanks for the 15 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You having a good one wherever you are? Do you take my Doomblade or do you take my Curve Filler? This is close. It depends on the context of their hand. If they have a really good threat, they take the Conclave Tribunal. Gosh, I love the Thoughtseize bug, chat. It's my favorite bug. Easy game, easy life. Discard spells are very easily balanced by making sure your opponent always draws the cards you just took away. Never forget, chat. The Shuffler's as rigged as the Earth is flat. The truth is out there, sheeple. Let's get rid of that one. Let's smack them for 2. Imported the bug straight from Moto. Exactly. On the board of 1/1's chat, the 1/2 is king. Good luck, Seth. Sweet. Opponent's deck is kind of sweet. They're playing like 4-color humans. Wonder how consistent their mana base is. It can't be particularly consistent, right? Remember that time we added a land to our deck? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Obs shouldn't have added any lands. Wait, what? Yes. Resolves. Speaking as someone who's played 1-mana spells after casting a Chalice on one more than he cares to admit on camera, I feel for people messing up Chalice of the Void. I mean, Soul Warden's a good draw here, right? She means these tokens we drop into play are going to start gaining us some life, which is great. We're actually only 1 land away from this working, right? We could do both in a turn. So I have 5, 6, 7. This would be 8. We need 9 mana total to activate this and this. Gosh, that's rude. Yeah, honestly, if I draw a land next turn, I'm going to throw these away to attack. Huh. Or we're just trading here. I mean, Beansy, it's going to be everywhere. The estimations are that, you know, the low end is that 70% of people, or the low end, 40% of people, from my understanding, will have some form of mild or severe COVID by the time this is done. Taiji. They got a lot of sweet ones. Wow, that's super aggressive. Do they have... They must have a second... I feel like offering the Taiji here means they have a second one. That's fair. They want to just, like, make their clock in the air faster. That's reasonable. We've got huge tracts of land. Yeah, that's probably what they're trying to do. Just keep us off of 30 so the Serra can't power up. Seems like a reasonable conclusion. Heliod. It's a good one to lock us out of. That's a great one to hit, though. Do you have more removal? Mostly Dead is 100% a Monty Python reference. Man, can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that this is not Reflector Mage? Oh, huge tracts of land. Yes, that is also a Monty Python reference. She's got huge tracts of land. Mostly Dead is Princess Bride. You're super right. You're super right. Yes, yeah, like, talking about this deck versus the red build where we cut some of these elements, like, the castle is carrying so hard here, right? The opponent has 22 minutes, we have 24 minutes, nobody's timing out. Oh, I should play the land. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna flip the Legion's Landing next turn, though, I think. So, like... I get to have Serra Ascendant lift off here, too, now, right? Their Meddling Mage is on Heliod. Yeah, this game should be done at this point. Unless they have some kind of sweeper. That would be silly. Even if they have a sweeper, like... Whee! Houston, we are clear for takeoff. I repeat, we are clear for takeoff. If you haven't seen this archetype in action before in Historic, this is one of the many decks you can find up on my website. A lot of great gems up there. Heard a lot of people say they're having a hard time getting into Historic because they don't have deck lists to pick over. JeffOgland.com, a lot of great Historic decks up there along with Standard and Pioneer. I mean, screw beats Flood if the Flood's not giving you anything useful, but our lands make creatures here, which is great. Yes, a flipped land keeps its CMC but loses its devotion is correct. I don't remember, Durka. It's been a long time. All right. I think I like to end on a high note. Almost 3 o'clock. Getting a little bit hangry. Want to grab some lunch. Yeah, I think I was pretty happy with these changes to this. I think to start with the original list that we had submitted, I think that last game especially highlighted one of the big gains from having the more utility in the land. I felt like this was just too cute, and like what these cards are trying to accomplish is accomplished by Ajani 0 well enough that it's really just feels redundant, and it's adding, if I could play red without adding any clunkiness to my mana base, I think Embercleave would be worth playing. The fact that it adds clunk to my mana base means that it's not quite worthwhile. And I think the slightly heavier, slightly more lands in this build, along with Ranger of Eos and Max Ajani's in the main, felt very clean and reasonable. I'm going to be updating the Soul Siblings configuration on my website to this build shortly after I sign off here. That's going to be it for me for today. Tomorrow, I'll be back about 8 a.m. Central Standard Time again. We're going to do some Magic Online. We're going to play some Standard. We're going to play some Historic. Saturday, I'm planning to be live as well because there's the charity tournament that Todd Anderson is running. And then I think I'm actually going to be doing a normal day on Sunday this weekend as well. I talked about this a little bit, but I believe my plans are to start taking a couple of days off during the week. So that way Christy doesn't have to wrangle the kids every day while she's also working from home upstairs. That doesn't quite seem fair to her. So I can shift my schedule here. So I think my new schedule is probably going to be taking 2 days off during the week and then doing 5 days with 2 of them being on the weekend. As always, everything will go up on the YouTube channel. I'll tweet my schedule out when I know it. Yeah, I'll be in the Discord server for Raid and otherwise shortly. I'm going to hit one more ad roll on my way out the door. Catch y'all tomorrow. Everybody stay safe out there.